Welcome to Channel 2. Enjoy the video.
Hi.
Hey y'all, it's a shitpost weekend on Channel 2.
Also wanted to talk about this CITES, COP, that's the Conference of Parties, number 18. In case you didn't know, CITES meets, a Conference of the Parties happens every 3 years, and it's been going on for about 45 years. And this is number 18, was supposed to take place starting this past Wednesday, and it was supposed to run through June the 3rd, but they have actually postponed that. The reason I bring that up is because this is the conference where they were supposed to actually introduce some amendments. I reported back during Winter NAMM on the MIA, which is the Music Industries Association. They were actually getting together. It's basically an association of a lot of the biggest guitar manufacturers and amp manufacturers, distributors, people like this, makers like Martin, PRS, NAMM itself, Fender, Taylor guitars, etc. Anyway, all these people were getting together basically, and we're going to go and lobby to get some changes and exemptions for guitar builders and manufacturers, particularly to have Rosewood exempted, and maybe to change a few other laws as well. But now that that recent terrorist attack happened in Sri Lanka, and which is where they were going to have this latest COP meeting, they have actually postponed that. So we don't know when exactly that's going to happen, or whether it's going to still occur in Sri Lanka, which is probably, frankly, not a great idea, because anytime you're going to have a big meeting like that where it's international, I don't know if I would be having it in a place that just had a massive, terrorist attack. But anyway, there's that. That's the reason that it's been postponed, and we'll keep you informed on that as that develops. Also, just keep us up to date on what the CMA in the UK is doing on the Fender investigation. If you want to see for yourself, that investigation is number 50565-3. It looks like they're going to make a decision on whether to issue a statement of objections by the summer of 2019, and that's an estimate. And of course, they finally have updated this investigation, which took them over a year to do. And they've included the notice of penalty, which was the £25,000 fine that they issued. And I will include a link to that down in the description if you want to see that. One very interesting thing that I found when I was reading through this CMA report, they actually had to justify the amount of the penalty they were going to impose upon Fender whenever they failed to comply with their order to submit all the documents that they needed to submit for this investigation. And during this process, what they have to do is they have to assess the current value of Fender Musical Instruments Europe. They have to assess their current assets and their current profit after tax annually. And what they did, this is kind of interesting because there is in here, they actually published some of this information that you don't normally get to see on Fender, because Fender is a private, not a public company, so they usually hide this information. But it's very interesting that they do release information from the financial statements of Fender Musical Instruments Europe here up to the 31st of December 2017, which presumably would have been the calendar year of 2017. And here you can see the turnover is about 36 million pounds for the calendar year 2017, and they had a profit after tax of only 1.2 million pounds or thereabouts on that much turnover. You can use this information to calculate their net profit margin. And net profit margin can be used to give you an indication of how healthy a company is. And it really depends on the sector they're in. If they're in a sector that's highly competitive and that depends on a lot of volume, if they're selling disposable diapers or something like that, the profit margins can be really small because they're going to sell a lot of disposable diapers. Or if they're doing toilet paper, or they're doing, disposable napkins, or whatever it is. If it's a disposable thing that is a consumable, then it can operate on low margins, and they're still going to make a lot of money worldwide. But something as niche as guitars, if you actually use this formula for calculating this, 1.223 million, so 1223000, and if you divide that by 35811000, you come up and you multiply that by 100 to give you a percentage. But 3.4% on a turnover of about 36 million pounds is really, really bad on something like guitars, which is not a consumable, which is a durable good, and is actually also a bit of a niche market. You would expect a company like Fender to be making more money. This is actually very telling of the state of the guitar market, and what it's telling me is you have either high competition in the guitar market, or you have a flooded guitar market, or both, or less demand. So, I mean, one of those things is going on, or a combination of all three. But 3.4% profit after tax on 36 million or thereabouts pounds turnover is really, really abysmal. And to me, this is the biggest news story right now that I got out of this whole thing, was that they're making such little money in Europe. And if they're making this little money in Europe, how much must they be making in the U.S.? I mean, I know it takes a lot more to ship things over to Europe, so that's got to be calculated into their costs. So surely they're making a bigger margin in the U.S., but it can't be a whole lot bigger. They're probably paying less in tax as well, because there's there's a lot more taxes on just about everything you try to do in Europe. So, there's all that stuff to consider. But man, I mean, that is a very slim profit margin. And I mean, in light of this slim of a profit margin, 25,000 pounds is nothing to sneeze at. What was also interesting about that 25,000 pound assessment is that, Fender and their lawyers actually came around, and they're the ones who informed the CMA that, hey, we actually do have these notebooks after all, that this employee, and they called it him or her a rogue employee, kept from you, during your investigation. So here they are. We're sorry about that. It was a rogue employee. We had nothing to do with it. They went against our policy. What more can we say except we're sorry? Please don't hurt us with a huge penalty. But what do? They assess a 25,000 pound penalty anyway, and the maximum assessable penalty in this case was only 30,000 pounds, so they were only 5,000 from the maximum anyway. So, at the end of the day, Fender would have been a lot better off, and their lawyers probably should have advised them to just sweep it under the rug and not say anything, to be quite honest. I mean, because the maximum penalty they would have gotten anyway would have been only 30,000 pounds. So, I don't know how that would have affected the ongoing investigation, but holy shit. I mean, they might as well have just swept it under the rug. So let that be a lesson to you. You comply with the law in the UK and you get screwed. They're going to screw you anyway. If you're a company and you have a rogue employee, or if you had, if you had circumstances beyond your control and somebody's, keeps information from this investigative body, which, by the way, seems to be increasing the number of its investigations as time has gone on. I've kind of followed this investigative body for about the past year, and what's been interesting to me is every time I go back to check and see if they've had updates on any of the investigations that I started following a year ago, it seems like they have 10 or 15 more investigations that get piled on top, and it's just everything from like funeral services to deli meats to whatever. It's just anything and everything you can name. They're investigating it all. It seems like, I don't know if they're trying to scrape the bottom of the barrel to produce revenue for the government or what the deal is here, but yeah, not really a fan of the CMA from everything I could see. I don't get the whole thing about being able to barge into businesses without at least getting a warrant. The thing about getting a warrant is you're not warning anybody you're going to come in. See, that's the misnomer everybody keeps having with this, is it doesn't take that much time to get a warrant. I mean, you call a judge on a On a Friday evening, yeah, you know, it might take a few hours. If you call them in the middle of the night, yeah, it might take a few hours. But holy crap, it's not going to take days upon days upon days. You know, this is something that usually happens pretty quickly, and it doesn't tip anybody off. It's just you're asking a judge, hey, can you sign off on this? Here's the evidence we've been presented with that says we need to be going in and investigating these people. Is this enough to do that? Is there reasonable, probable cause here for us to do this? You know, that is not tipping off anyone's. So anybody who says that, you know, they shouldn't have to have a warrant because it'll just tip off the people that they're going in to investigate, you don't know what the hell you're talking about. You don't understand the purpose behind a warrant, and you really should educate yourself as to what a warrant actually is and why it's needed. The whole theory behind warrants and why we impose those this restriction in American law, because we had a lot of things that happened before the United States was formed that the British actually imposed upon us and didn't require warrants for, and that was a response to that. So you really need to educate yourself on that. I don't know what the British education system has taught you about warrants, but you know, it doesn't tip off the people you're trying to investigate. That's just a complete misnomer. But yeah, very interesting. I thought that Fender is only making about 3.4%. Yeah, just really interesting stuff. But also, when I was on the CMA website, what was interesting to me is that it looks like they've opened a brand new case. Yeah, open on April the 30th, 2019. This is number 50698. And, of course, I cannot tell what company this is, but they've opened another investigation into yet another musical instrument company, which is interesting. I guess we'll have to wait and see who exactly that is. Okay, and it looks like they finally officially named one of the other ones. On April the 11th, the CMA issued a statement of objections alleging that Casio Electronics Company has breached UK and EU competition law by restricting retailer freedom to discount digital pianos and digital keyboards. So basically, they were using their MAP pricing as we first talked about. And they released an article about a press release about that, and this is from, actually was released on April the 11th. So we know exactly, you know, which companies belong to a couple of these case numbers now. So the Casio case number is 50565-2. Alright guys, last week Will's Easy Guitar put up this video saying that, you know, I had destroyed his grandfather's amplifier, and then I did a fake apology video in return. All in good fun. There was no real amplifier, just so everyone knows. I did not screw up anyone's amplifier. It was all a joke. Okay, so now that we have that out of the way. So I made this fake apology video where I'm crying for about 3 or 4 minutes in last shitpost Friday, and I asked you guys after the fact to make up some memes. So right now we are going to do our first meme review. Meme review, everybody. So I asked you guys to take screenshots of last shitpost Friday, my worst crying face, and put captions with it, and here's what we came up with. Here's one that I did to get us started. When Fender finally emails back, but it's only to say, fuck off, you're not a real journalist. Okay, so that gives you some idea. This one was sent by Alan Stokes, and Alan says, I agreed to fix another Mesa Boogie amp. What the fuck was I thinking? So right off the bat, we've got a Mesa Boogie meme. That won't be the last of them. This one's sent in by Luke Brinkley. When another amp with direct mounted pots and tube sockets hits the bench. That's a pretty good look for me, I think. I like this one. YouTube algorithms identified my chord fingering as a gang symbol. Made you look. Next meme. Oh, I want to return this guitar. It's out of tune. Oh, you're not playing within the rules there. Rotten roller. I just found another mistreated Gibson in Guitar Center's dumpster. It's about right. Here we go. Here's one poking fun at Phil McKnight. A 2-week, no questions asked, full 2-week, no questions asked, full refund policy. Off McKnight just purchased one of our amps. Next meme. Jeez, man. You guys are all over Phil McKnight here. I was trying to get you to lampoon me, not Phil McKnight. I mean, here goes. Next meme. When you're a Guitar Center employee and Philip McKnight comes in with the 4th guitar you set up this month for return. I would keep the money from the setups. Mean. You guys are mean to Phil. Don't be mean to Phil. When you open all the boxes of amps pending repair and you find they're all Mesa Boogie. Yeah, another Mesa Boogie one. Still as accurate as ever. When your wife reminds you of the annual checkup and you still remember the urologist's fingers. And by the way, don't put your fingers up my ass. I like this one. When Superman sues you for copyright infringement. Nice. No words required on this one. Again, pretty accurate. Although I think that Princeton reverb, that's a reissue reverb, so I would probably be crying about that one too. Because I'm such a little bitch. It's another Philip McKnight one. Psst. Hey Brad, I just heard that Phil McKnight got another subscriber to his channel. Why would I be upset about that? I don't care how many subscribers Phil McKnight gets to his channel. What do you guys think I am? Oh God! Here's another Mesa Boogie one. You guys got to get more imaginative. Holy shit, it's Mesa Boogie or it's Phil McKnight. Brad woke to a strange parallel universe where all the guitar amps were known simply as Mesa Boogie. It's wearing thin, guys. Need some new memes. Democrats and Republicans both agree to immediately ban all vacuum tubes after the release of a report by the U.S. DOE, Department of Education, citing information found on the 4chan website. Yeah, that sounds like something they would do too. Okay, that'll do it for meme review. Alright guys, that'll do it for this Shitpost Friday. Hope you've enjoyed it. If you have, please hit subscribe down below. Hit the bell to receive all notifications. For now, y'all take care.